I do want to quit this job because it just threw me into a match for no specific reason. Right. We're gonna go find someone to go shoot in the face with a shotgun. On a video game, because, yeah, you know. Alright. There we go, another one.
Don't say anything.
Obviously, I'm not gonna say anything. Alright, so we're going to come up with a topic at some point. Hopefully I'm going to realize that I need to turn off this Muzak. Alright. Music. Alright, so we're going to go to online. We're going to go back to a new session, and then everybody keeps trying to make money. I just keep trying to take that money. And that's what I'm going to do. Alright, that's all I'm going to do is try to take that money. Try to take that money and come up with a topic. Take all that money that they tried to put on the bounty of them. Because in this game, I try to enact and try to make sure, or try to play like I'm a bounty hunter. What? And yes, I'm completely alone. So, alright. So we're gonna be a bounty hunter on GTA. It's gonna be great. We're gonna get the free car the whole time, and we're gonna see if we can kill off some guys. And it's gonna be funny because they're trying to kill me, and then not gonna die. And it's gonna be great, guys. Playing a bounty hunter on GTA. We're gonna a bounty hunter on GTA. I love myself so much. Oh, yeah, that's a good topic. It's a really good topic. Man, that's a good topic, guys. Alright, so loving yourself, man. Being able to have care for yourself. Realizing that you are the person that you need to be, and only you. And you have to understand that there are people out there that care. Some of them sometimes are not always readily available to be able to give you any help with anything. But understand that the answer usually isn't too far away. The answer usually isn't too far away. Because the mirage in the desert, whatever that is, it's going to show itself and try to make you get a goal. Understandably so. It's trying to get you out of the desert and not keep you there. Unfortunately, some people don't realize that underneath a certain part of the soil inside of the desert is a very cool place. It's not any sort of amazing mall that anyone was ever thinking about. It's certain corpuscles of air. Yeah, and plants live inside that core, those corpuscles, and they're usually edible. Usually edible. So if you smell any noxious smells or anything, try to stay away from it. But understand too that I'm gonna go see if I can kill me some peeps. See if I can collect a bounty on someone's head, and hopefully I'm not the only person inside this lobby. But yeah, understanding that that you can love yourself and be yourself, and it's the reason why on that Trigun thing, everyone didn't know how he survived, and he never said anything. It's because in the desert, there are corpuscles of air. That quicksand stuff, there are corpuscles of air that that you're able to survive in, and you can survive for like 24 to 48 hours, probably. And for about 24 to 48 hours, and then someone has to dig you out. But understandably so, he had to realize that Doctor Strange helped him. That's the reason why I didn't say anything, guys. It was Doctor Strange the whole time. I'm not gonna say the real actor's name because it's comic book sometimes, and it's funny. All right, so it's not exactly a comic book sometimes. It's just the idea that goes through people's head when they read a comic book and try to see what different universes would be able to go use to each other. Sometimes they try to mix anime with different kinds of comic books, and that's, I think, with the kind of built universe they're trying to build, I guess. So it's kind of cool. So all right, so this corpuscles, and back to loving yourself, realizing that there are people around that want to help you with the things you do. Realizing and understanding that if you already have some sort of thing going yourself, you shouldn't try to get too much help sometimes. Because what could happen is when someone tries to give you too much help, you gain, not codependent, but dependent upon their reactions to the things you say. And as therapists try to tell you you're doing good whenever you're doing something, like whenever you're creating something or making something and saying that it's a really good drawing or something like that, what actually happens sometimes is they're trying to make you self-confident, because to unlock your true and full potential in something, like painting a frisbee, or doing something really awesome, or painting a sad face or a happy face or anything. So realize that there are people out there that care, and understand that there are a lot of people that really want to see people do good, and no matter if they've been through situations or not. So there are a lot of good therapists out there, and a lot of people who are really good therapists. They don't tell people what they're doing. They leave their entire personal life out of it and use metaphors to be able to understand and recognize certain cues. Because a real therapist, a real trained therapist, really knows that he can keep his entire personal life out of the goddamn situation. Some people choose to relinquish details and say details, but understandably so. That's the reason why people have to understand that they don't have to, and sometimes they just say some sort of random fact that they heard, not around the office or anything like that, but usually around somewhere where they've been. And as they do the things they do, they have to understand that they're not giving pieces away or anything like that, or telling people anything or something like that. They're just realizing that they're just realizing that they didn't need that positive reinforcement to be able to make that thing. So that's the reason why I think that people who put a lot of 100% into a job sometimes aren't the ones that act, oh, there's a bounty on my head right there. Hopefully some characters actually notice me and tell me to be able to. Alright. So we're gonna take out these we're gonna go searching around for these gangs. We're gonna beat them on the video game. And people don't realize that's not a any sort of tonal thing. It's actually an alien's language, not an actual alien's language, but I just made it up because when I was a little kid, I used to talk like this. Sometimes, whenever I was acting like a robot alien or an alien robot, who knows? I don't know. Trying to be like what an alien would try to do if it tried to act like it was a robot. So, alright, cool. It would try to make as little sense as possible so that people would never try to follow it. So, alright guys, now we're going to know that that there are the reasons why I kind of sometimes keep to myself is because I know random facts from different fictional things that I've read. People usually don't get it, and then that's the reason why I get introverted. So, I'm not introverted because of any social disorder or anything like that, or I don't feel like getting a tan. You know, it's not any of that. So realize that stuff, guys. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's awesome. So what we're gonna realize today is loving yourself is just as important as loving another person, or taking someone in, or trying to care for someone. Because if you don't care for yourself, then you'll be afraid of them. You'll be afraid of them all the time, and that person will eventually become someone that you hate. And as you start to push someone away, or as you start to see that that person is completely leaving out the door sometimes, and just never even coming back, you have to understand that you were given too many chances. Everyone was given too many chances. You were given a lot of chances, and you chose to pick a certain road that was completely insensitive and stupid bullshit. Understandably so, that there are a lot of people out there that would seem and think that they don't deserve something, even though they said they weren't insensitive, and then they decided to be insensitive about things. Like laughing at someone else trying to tell them something that they thought was very pertinent or helpful at all, but that's sometimes what people do when they try to help themselves get over some sort of pain. And realizing that getting over that pain is what causes distancing and emotional distancing. And it's like, I'm over it. No, you're not over it still. You're still going through all the pain and experiencing a lot of different symptoms of literally reflexes that you made in a time of panic or a time of trauma at all. So realize that that's what's happening. And if you don't love yourself, then you'll find out that there are a lot of reasons why people themselves try to they try to bank on what's the word? They try to bank on knowing that one day the problem will be gone. And that's where stupidity comes in. And stupidity is the reasoning for being able to distract yourself from a certain situation. And a lot of women do it, a lot of men do it, a lot of people do it all the time. And they don't want to talk about something that's personal. They don't want to talk about political ties or anything because they're embarrassed about people, because they're all sometimes going to jail. Because they're all being checked on constantly and being informed on and being told about, because everything that they do has to be completely and utterly planned around. Because sometimes politicians can be very, very stupid and make dumbass mistakes. Like J. Edgar Hoover. Not J. Edgar Hoover. What's his name? What's his name? I think it wasn't J. Edgar Hoover. It might have been a dude. I don't know what it is, but he talked about his dick all the time. And if he was around kids at all, then people would have been completely and utterly astounded at about how unbelievably offensive he was. So yeah, there's a lot of different stuff about history that it goes into stuff that people don't understand. It's really cool. And there are a lot of times when people didn't really understand where things were coming from, and that's the reason why inside of your own mind sometimes you make up these things that you have to do in order to be able to distract yourself from an imminent danger or something like that, because you think that if you freak out or panic, then it could be worse than it actually is, and it usually is. But sometimes that panic can actually get you out of a situation. Understandably so. If it's a controlled panic, it's more like a reflex. So as that controlled panic happens, you kind of realize that you're kind of shaking somewhat, because the first reaction of you is to be able to run to safety. So the second reaction, obviously, is for you to be able to try to stay and fight. So as that happens, people themselves sometimes don't make a move and don't make a sound, because they think somehow that if they move or make a threatening motion, then somehow something will get worse, because that's sometimes a reflex to specific trauma that has happened in their life, like being whipped as a child, or being whipped as a child, or not whipped, but being spanked as a child and then not told the reason why they were punished, because their parents said so, and so they thought they did something completely terrible unknowingly sometimes, and that's the reason why sometimes kids get unknowingly paranoid, I guess. And I think a lot of times there were people out there that did some very, very stupid things to their kids and had to understand that their kids were somewhere else. And a lot of times people try so hard to be able to make certain things happen, and to be able to make certain people able to be a part of something, or to be a part of anything. And I think that a lot of times what happens with being able to actually understand and know yourself, because before you love yourself, you have to know exactly what's in that mind sometimes, and if there's some sort of reflex out there that you're not exactly getting used to sometimes, or that some sort of thought that's constantly pushing up or saying something or something like that, it's something that's not in your brain. It's something that's not in your brain at all. It's a synapse that's firing without you knowing, because there are such things as people would call the ghost synapse. Okay? It's not really a synapse. It's not really anything. It's just a synapse that fires that has a low charge. A very low charge that sometimes is immeasurable sometimes, because of joules being not joules, yeah, joules, Joules, as the lowest measurement, I think, of anything, and sometimes it's even lower than that. People don't realize that just because the charge is something doesn't mean that people actually have 2 terabytes of information inside of their brains. They don't realize that they can get access certain parts of their brains, and realize that they can actually have about 4 terabytes of information because of the information that's readily available to them. So they'll remember certain cues and certain things from themselves, and that's the reason why the brain starts to make those reflexes, like fighting or flighting, or running or staying, or doing a different things like that, is because as they start to read, they get excited about something. If they get excited about it, it's like they're experiencing that moment without ever having to make a reflex, and that's the reason why people like to read. So alright, everybody's leaving because they're all bored now. Alright. Understanding a lot of different things that people actually do. There are a lot of times where I used to believe that that there were people out there that actually cared, you know? But I found out that there were a lot of people out there that are actually bad, and I found that out through different news programs, different people, different stuff, different ways that people actually did things or tried to do things, and they're gonna understand the reasons why I decided to be able to they're gonna understand the reasons why I decided to try to create something a little bit better. And to be able to love yourself and to be able to understand the reflexes that you actually go through every day, you're gonna have to understand that there are a lot of different reasons why people do certain things and say certain things. And yes, I want to kill someone so I can take their money, and I have a $7,000 bounty on my head. So if anybody wanted to take that, then they lost the chance because I'm talking about stuff. Alright, so a lot of times people don't understand certain things and they don't realize that sometimes they're making themselves look a little bit worse sometimes. It's the reason why I don't play these games seriously. I never play these games seriously at all sometimes, because that's the reason why if you play them seriously or mad or in hardcore mode or something like that, you gain a reflex, and that's what happens sometimes is and people will start to realize that the reflexes they make will start to make them lose what's the word? Certain concentration skills, and that's the reason why sometimes people don't realize that the end of a synapse is the end of a synapse, and when it stops, once it stops sending signals to the brain, and once it stops doing a lot of different stuff, then
quite a digital footprint you're making. You don't mind my saying so. Little foolish. Anyway,
understanding that the synapses that are firing in your brain are shutting down constantly and re-emerging. The realization of that, and the fact that people sometimes get headaches sometimes, is because they overuse those synapses. Like the same thing happening, or the same person's like, oh my god, here we go again, guys, it's the same old thing. If you're bored, then you're boring, okay? Remember that song, okay? Remember that understandable song. It's called Harvey Danger. If you're bored, then you're boring, okay? If you're bored, then you're boring yourself, okay? You're giving yourself headaches because you think that something's over. Your synapse doesn't fire to be able to give you certain satisfactions, and if you don't find something good about it sometimes, then you won't be able to appreciate it the next time you experience it. You'll be a little bit somber toned about it instead of excited sometimes. And you'll start to realize the reasons why people start to distance themselves from things is because they do it on purpose sometimes. And it all takes a chance to be able to treat yourself. To be able to treat yourself and treat yourself well. And I just hit something and I don't know where it went. Alright, so we're going to go back to that car and realize that there is an assassin inside of that car. And we're going to take care of that assassin. Alright, here we go. Alright. He's just knocked out right now. We're going to take care of him. No one can see him. No one can see him but me. Alright, we took care of him. Stupid goddamn car alarm. So, realization of fact is that people have to understand that certain reflexes happen because of certain synapses firing that you don't realize or you don't understand. And people don't really understand sometimes the kind of things that happen inside their own brain. Like, sometimes people don't understand that a certain part of your brain becomes corpuscly to be able to what's the word? To find a, I just farted. Farted again. To find a, let's see here. Let's see here. Lost my train of thought, but it's okay. To find a certain emotion, okay, and as that emotion decides to be able to tell someone something or to be somewhere, that emotion decides to be able to that emotion decides to turn itself on in a synapse that makes you elated or happy about something. It gives is motion to, and the synapse fires, making you happy about something, and because your problems are gone, or or your friends are there, or your friends are gone anymore because they were stupid to you. So, you know, they were stupid to you. So just realize that. If your friends were stupid to you, and you're happy they're gone, you can make new friends eventually. But also realize that if you start blaming people and trying to put people in categories that they don't fit in, because a lot of people do this. My dad's done this. My mom's done this sometimes. Understandably so. People don't understand that those categories are only fit because their brains sometimes don't want to work anymore. Okay? They don't want to work anymore in different ways. Okay? They've already tried to do different things. They've already been at different places, and sometimes they tried to do certain things, and, you know, it just didn't work. So that's what happened. So certain situations that happened, people had to realize that there was a really amazing situation that happened sometimes. That amazing situation was brought on and is brought on by certain reflexes in the brain, and as that brain starts to fire a small synapse, a very small synapse that doesn't look like a charge, that actually is one. Doesn't look like a oh, I just cracked my neck. Yeah, awesome. Alright, we're gonna take care of these people because they don't know if I have a shotgun or not. And he's gonna run, but he's gonna realize that I don't like those suspenders because he's not wearing a suit. And it's needless. And it's a video game. Alright. And alright, we're gonna realize that guy is a video game character that's being animated, and that's the reason why he's a video game character. I'm going through all of this because I'm trying to make myself laugh, okay? All this stuff isn't real, and all this stuff is never real, so you have to understand that. And everyone has to understand that this game is not real life in any way. It can give you confidence to be able to take on certain jobs or certain things or certain situations where you kind of ruined someone's chances at getting to a goal because all your friends committed suicide and then that guy ran him off the road. I don't know what they were doing because they thought that somehow it had anything to do with the game's polarity. I have no idea what the fuck they're trying to do with that shit. But it's a suggestion though sometimes that actually gets inside of your head that makes you try to do different things that are a little bit more risk-takey because everyone's taking it easy. That's it. That's all it is. It's usually just a game technique that people use and they try to be able to get in your head. Understandably so, it can make you not very appreciative of yourself, and I need to go to a different freaking thing. There are a lot of times where I talk really fast or I talk kind of fast, and sometimes people in college or in different places and children won't understand me, and that's the reason why I do this sometimes, because it's the reason why I say things kind of fast and people won't follow, because if they can't follow, then don't sometimes. If you really want to find out who's actually good at something, who's good at certain things and who's good at other things, you'll realize and find out that kids' parents suggest things to them constantly. And kids have to realize that they have to get rid of those reflexes, whether peacefully or completely by yelling at them. Sometimes people yell at them in boot camp. I don't agree with that sometimes, because what it does is it creates a sense of conformity sometimes. And they don't understand is that sometimes their unique abilities and their uniqueness is actually what makes them get closer together, because they're different. And sometimes they're just wearing the same uniforms, and sometimes their own conformity is something that keeps them, I guess, depressed or not really keeping themselves together. I'm not saying that has anything to do with anyone going crazy or shooting anyone, but I'm having to say that that would probably have to do with people drinking heavily in the military in the 70s. Because they realized that it wasn't worth it sometimes. It wasn't worth the life that they took to be able to do the things that they did. and sometimes they regret it. And when they talk to people about things, they're very somber most of the time, and not excited to meet you. That's the reason why I've met a man that decided that he was in the Navy, and he told me that he was excited about it, that he was excited to meet people, and he wanted to try to have sex with my roommate. And then I told him to go off somewhere and do something to himself that involved him doing something to himself, and that's it. So because I know that Navy people don't come up and talk to you all the time, so I know that happens because they don't come up and talk to you. They walk by. They know they're doing their job. They're not trying to tell anybody anything. They're just doing whatever. And you have to understand that Navy dudes never did that stuff that people insinuated that they did. Like Full Metal Jacket, all those other different military movies where dudes were having sex with prostitutes and stuff like that. If they stayed in the military, they would never do that. They would get wives. They would pick up women from squalor, and they would say, or squalor, or fucked upness, or stupid shit, or abusive relationships, and they would marry them because they fell in love. They were absolutely astonished by all their strength, by the fact that they got up every single time, and no matter what, they just kept on striving forward. And that's probably the main attraction that I think that people really understood about women in the 70s, was because no matter how stupid things got, and no matter how dumb people were, they decided to be able to move on. And in the 60s and the 50s, because there were a lot of fucked up people doing stuff, and they were trying to get church wives and a whole bunch of different people like that. And yes, I'm chasing after this guy, and I'm going to shotgun him. And he decided to go straight past me. Understandably so. That's the reason why we're going to do this. Got these stragglers, guys. Stragglers. Alright, there you go. There we go. Alright. The guy was not the Joker. He was just dressed up as the Joker. Hopefully he had to realize that he is a person and playing a video game, and not a straggler, and not a zombie. Zombie, as in a certain form, if spelled backwards in, I'd say in, oh man, because there are a lot of different, not codes, but I'd say like pagan lettering, okay? Because pagans made up the languages. Yeah, they did. A lot of pagans made up languages. That's the reason why people don't understand Christianity as it exists today. Alright. To be able to love yourself is to be able to understand and love others. To be able to have yourself be around is to be able to understand and realize people's notions. And I'm going to see if I can kill that character again. It's the same character, then I'm going to keep on doing it. Alright, realization of fact is that people don't understand certain things by themselves, and when they don't understand certain things by themselves, that's the reason why some people don't realize certain things. Is if something's happening and someone's trying to tell them something, more meaningful or important, they're trying to tell them that they love them, or tell them that they really want to be around them, or that they really think that they're extremely cool. And how's it going? I'm expert deep. Please do not blame me. I am 11 and make them a moderator. No, not really. I'm sorry, dude. You have permission from your parents, and I'm going to need a written letter from that. A written letter from your parents. You're going to have to send it to an address that I will never give you, because I know you don't have permission from your parents. Sorry, dude. I'm not going to kick you or anything. You can still watch, but I'm just going to talk about stuff, so. Alright. It's a video game, so. I cannot cheat, because I forgot I cannot cheat. Alright, cool. That doesn't make me angry or anything. God damn it. I need to go to ammunition. Yep. Alright. Alright. I'm not gonna stop you from watching, dude. So what's going on in your mind?
Let's not pussyfoot around.
Actually, you know
I
what?
know who you are. I know what you're into.
I'm not going to ask you any questions, but I'm going to keep on going with the thing that I was saying. Okay, in order to be able to understand yourself, and when you're younger, people have to understand that there are a lot of things that you don't understand, and if you did understand them, then you associated them with the thoughts that people actually had whenever they associated thoughts with things. I'm not going to ask you any questions, dude. So just sit back and watch, I guess. But realize if you're in school right now, and you're trying to skip class or anything like that, then I'm not a party to that, and you need to go back to class. Alright, so as certain things happen, people don't understand that there are a lot of different reasons why people themselves decide to do something. There are a lot of different reasons why people use a reflex to be able to make sure that they can find something, can say something that's meaningful, or do something that involves a lot of different things. I have read a couple of things in my book, and yes, I got down a lot of information sometimes. There's no way that I'm ever using anyone else. You have to understand that I would never do that. This is all just information that I've retained from when I was younger, and also when I was older. And then I did drugs somewhere in the middle. So, realization of fact is that, of this fact, people have to understand that loving yourself and being yourself is... And why does someone have exploding bullets, and he's a sniper, and he's a piece of shit? Gotta hide behind something. No, I'm not gonna make you a moderator on my channel. Sorry, dude. You're 11 years old. You're probably talented, man, but you need job skills, man. You need to be able to learn how to do different things first before you do other things. Because I am actually a high school graduate, so I mean, at least I did that. I didn't like research papers, and I decided to completely and utterly ignore them. So I got an F down the line, except for in art, because I'm amazing. And all right, that guy is running, and he's running an engine. Let's see if we can catch him. We're gonna walk behind this house, just back and forth, kind of acting like we're an NPC. Sometimes they have those, and people don't understand that happens sometimes. There are bots inside of programs. Granted, sometimes people are trying to make a certain thing happen. And there we go. There he is, right there. He's coming for us, and... Ooh, man! He got me, guys. He totally got me. Alright, Alright, so, oh, darn, he died. Or maybe he has armor now, I think. Son of a bitch, I should have shot him in the head. Alright, Alright, so realization of fact is that people don't understand the reasons why they think they know things. Alright, man. Check it out. Make sure you have a talent, and if you do have a talent, then use it for good and not for hacking into stupid servers that hold Roblox cheats or something, or the program itself to be able to find out where everyone is. Alright, I'm gonna find out where Joker is and realize that he died because of cops. Or whatever that dude is trying to be, because I don't think he's Joker. Alright. Joker's a lot more stylish than that, especially if he says, alright guys, there's gonna be a really cool thing, and
You should die.
alright, that guy's still pointing that gun in no direction. I'm gonna have to shoot him now. Alright, you stuck there? There we go. Have a good day, guys. Alright, thought that car was gonna stop. Oh my goodness. Jesus Christe. Yes, I can use that word. It's meant for everyone, not just for people in religion. And also, I don't believe in it still, so it doesn't matter. It's actually the Latin derivative, so it's the reason why people don't really understand. And I don't know who you are, Mary Grace Fella, but hopefully you understand that that there are people out there that care, and I'm gonna get behind this person so I can use them as a body shield. Piece of shit. Understandably so. People are gonna have to understand that kids are gonna watch things no matter what. They're gonna keep on watching things no matter what, because what's going on? So realization of fact is that, oh, you're sorry? It's cool, no worries, guys, no worries. Alright. Alright, so understanding that simple fact is that people can be very, very stupid sometimes, act like the Joker, and then apologize for shooting you in the head. I don't know what you're talking about. Were you in passive mode? Because I didn't notice. What did I do? I didn't do anything. What? How did that happen? Gosh. You were standing around acting like you're just minding your own business, trying to act like an NPC, and I noticed your name. I'm sorry. It was an accident. You should have known. Alright. Alright, we're just gonna blow shit up now. There we go. Yeah, boy. I'm trying to get a more powerful gun, so, let's see, let's go to, let's go to ammunition. Alright. You're cool, dude. And if you stay on the chat, that's cool, man. But yeah, I realize kids are gonna do what they want to do, and they're gonna like to just the games that they want to like, and they're gonna realize that there are a lot of different people out there that want to help and want to do a lot of different stuff, and
Whatever.
they're really cool.
Trying to grab my goodies. Piece of shit.
What's up? What happened?
No trouble.
Alright, I gotta go to ammunition. Where is that? Son of a bitch.
I've got everything boxed.
Right on.
Yeah, you're saying weird things that are always like sounding like African gang signs. So I'm just gonna have to stop you there and say that I don't care about that. And El clique? El clique? Clique? That's gun. That means gun. So alright, cool. Enjoy your gang symbols. Not to say that you're ever gonna get any or anything like that, just enjoy you looking at them and enjoying the words that you're saying. I know that you're probably not in a gang because most of the people who actually play this game are either kids or 40-year-olds. 40-year-olds aren't in gangs. They're usually either the leader of the gang or they're not even in it anymore because they got out before, and then they got a real job. There we go. We're going to take that cop car. Of course, I'm 31, so I'm playing this game too, so I guess I'm just not a part of the equation that I said about. I am an anomaly. No, I'm not an anomaly. I am not an anomaly. I'm a person. I'm a regular person, and I talk about stuff. And that's the reason why I think that I'm able to keep myself a little bit more calm sometimes. Other times I'm kind of pissed off because I'm going through stuff, and I'm constantly trying to push that anger out sometimes, and I realized that there's just like, god damn it. So there's just like a lot of shit that I do sometimes. It's just really unexplainable, you know. All right, guys. So alright, we're gonna keep on running, see how fast we can go and how far we can go with all these cops on our tail. We have 3 stars. I'm looking for 4 1/4. Looking for 4 1/4. Ed McMahon. Yeah. That's Bill Hader doing Ed McMahon. It's not actually Bill Hader, because it's me, and not Bill Hader. So, alright, cool. Yes. Kendar doll car, getting it. It's mine now. I'm totally having it. There we go. Freaking Ken doll car. What? That's what I'm talking about, guys. Yes. Freaking cool as hell, guys. In that Ken doll car. What? Ken doll car. Ken doll car. Ken doll car. Gonna be good, Ken doll. Yeah. And let's see if there's anybody else left in the lobby. I press and start and checking out who's there. And I've completely ran everyone off. Also, if you're 11 and you know how to hack, then you're probably being watched by some government organization. Realize that, and understand that there's a grace period on whether you say you can hack something and you actually do hack something, and then the reason why they'll be following you and then keeping taps on your phone and all of your stuff because the things that you say to your friends or the things you say to on your Facebook, because I know that every teenager believes in Facebook and Instagram, so much so that the Russian government has tried to have an interest in it so many times. And the reason why they've been manipulating a whole bunch of different stuff, a lot of news stories, stuff like that. So, that's fun. But understandably so, they still ran those news stories because they wanted to see where all those people were trying to talk about. And they were talking about stuff that didn't make any sense, and were all that stuff, man. It's really stuff, you know. It sucks, guys. It really sucks. All right, so See if I can go to a distant land, kind of close to here, and see if I can get my car. My car. So yeah, loving yourself and knowing yourself is there's a big situation in life where if you start to love yourself, if you start to know something about yourself, and you start to realize that that there are people out there that care, you have to understand that there are certain reasons and certain people out there that that deserve to feel what's the word? Sometimes better, I guess. Not to be tortured, I guess. And realization of the fact is that sometimes that once the pressure is gone, they'll be able to get back those synapses that fire. And no matter what's on the agenda for anybody's bullshit, because it's bullshit. It's all bullshit, and people are stupid, and they just kill people because they want to. It's the reason why gangs do that, because they set up things and they see like, oh my god, man, he's totally trying to get more money. If he gets more money, take out his legs. That's what they do. That's all they do. That's all they ever do. They play around with money, their own money, and they keep it, and they always never fucking spend it, because that's what they do. They just try to get free stuff all the time, all around town, stuff like that. Except for concierges do that sometimes too. So there's concierges and mobsters getting free stuff sometimes. It's okay, guys. It's cool. They're all mixed in. Because they want to be included, guys. They want to be included. You know? Alright, so we're going to realize that people are fucking annoying sometimes. And sometimes you just have to realize that yourself is the way to go. Realize it. So the throttle doesn't work right, but it's okay. Because in order to turn properly, you have to hit the let go of the gas, hit it again. See, look, like watch this curve. See this curve? It's completely terrible. I'm sliding. It's like I'm sliding. It's like, it looks like I'm sliding. There's no turning on this. It sucks, but it's okay. Alright, so realization of fact is that if you love yourself and if you actually do something for yourself, you'll be able to make sure that you can do certain things for yourself and understand certain people. Understanding certain facts of matter is... Alright. We're going to understand that there are a lot of different people out there that certainly give a proper notion of morality, and as people don't understand certain things, they'll start to use less of their brain power to be able to figure out certain problems. When people start to use less brain power to figure out their problems, they start to realize that the information that's inside of their brain is just locked away somewhere. It's not dying, it's usually laying dormant. The moment that people start to realize certain things is the moment that sometimes people realize certain emotions or certain things, but understandably so, people don't have to, people like use, sometimes they use code words, I guess, for things that are in their brain sometimes, to be able to like just completely shut off that part of their brain for a moment. Because there are people that can actually do that, and those aren't just Shaolin monks or anything like that. They're people that can study completely and utterly and see every answer, literally just not floating through their head, but literally an image that is brought to their mind's eye or their optic nerve. People can do that. People can actually do that, and yes, I can do that partially. because I'm actually a little bit better off now that I've been taking all my medication. So that's the reason why people don't understand is being schizoaffective is sometimes an actual gift. People don't understand the reason why it's a gift, because it eventually allows you to completely and utterly take apart a situation inside of your own mind, realizing that it's a synapse, but understanding that the image is the synapse, and realizing that that technology that freaking Tony Stark was using, that's the reason why, like, it's like basically having that inside of your own brain and being able to try to measure a whole bunch of different parts. Like, so basically, you'll be able to read it in your sleep sometimes. If you ever have a sleepy dream or something like that, and you see words and stuff like that, then you'll understand that people don't understand it, though. They don't realize it, and they don't understand it at all. But understandably so, they have to understand that having that is a mutation. Every single kind of mental disability or different thing, they say that their weakness is their strength, but they don't understand that if they treat their weakness, then their weakness becomes their strength sometimes. There's guys that have been taking drugs for a long time. They were addicts, and that's what they did. But understandably so, they will have a high tolerance to being able to be poisoned. They will have a very high tolerance to alcohol, like I have sometimes, because there's a lot of different reasons why I do, because of certain enzymes that are in my stomach sometimes, because of me taking certain things. I take a protein supplement every once in a while. I've started taking it less because I've realized that that if I'm not exactly working out, then all it does is create fat. I want that fat because it's going to get colder every year, but I also want to be able to build muscle on top of that. So I'm going to be not on top of that, but through that, basically build muscle, and realize that that fatty muscle is going to keep me warm pretty much during the entire time that I'm here. So I'm planning for the future, and constantly keeping up a bunch of stuff. So, all right. So let's see here. Let's do something else. Let's go into
Don't ask how I got this number.
Shut up. All right, cool. There are a lot of times. There are a lot of times where people don't understand that that there are people out there that that absolutely care about them and that actually want to see them do good. Other people's expressive love and other people's expressive want. Sometimes people can do something or say something to a child that changes them. I guess, like, I remember when I wanted to make a language of my own, and my mom didn't want me to get made fun of and beat up in class. Because there were people that did that, and I almost horse-collared a dude, and I would have gone to jail for breaking his neck, because it looked like his neck was very, very loose, and I probably would have hurt him a lot. But I didn't, and but he tried to if at me and do it really close to my face while he was trying to act like he was a person, because I just didn't do it because it wasn't worth it. Realized also that my dad would have kicked my ass, and that's what my dad sometimes does. Sometimes he doesn't really kick my ass, but he just makes sure that I know that I'm doing something wrong and that I need to fix it. That something that I'm doing wrong is trying to create a fictional world in my head. Okay. The reason why he understands what I'm doing is, I guess, that's the reason why it's not exactly a fictional world, but it's a fictional thought. And that fictional thought is trying to make me believe that there is something that I'm not doing right, or that I'm not saying right, and that I'm not being a certain better person for someone. And in order for him to be able to be comfortable with that better person around me, and realizing that that better person for me would most likely be a relationship that I would love to have. But understandably so, there are a lot of times when people don't understand that there are certain times when better people or people who are better are very insensitive. And when those better people are very insensitive, they don't realize what they do because of sometimes their emotions being able to be, I'd say, like, what is it, completely, and I'm not saying it's by their fault by any means or anything like that. I'm not saying that it's their fault by any means. I'm just saying that they don't know how they express themselves sometimes. Because they didn't grow up in knowing and understanding emotion. I was a very emotional kid sometimes. I had a lot of different traumas happen to me. And I was very, very seldomly... I had bad experiences with animals before I had ever any bad experiences with humans. So I was very, very shy. Extremely shy. I was extremely shy, and I hated myself sometimes because of the things that were insinuated by other people and the things that people that would say about me sometimes. Oh wait, he wants to play. Let's barter. I'll give you a shotgun bullet to the chest, and you're gone. All right, cool. He realized his folly. Understandably so. People are going to understand that there are a lot of times where when people start to not believe in themselves, like when I used to not believe in myself. I used to believe in myself, like literally. I don't know what the hell that word would ever mean than just knowing and understanding that yourself is yourself, and actually being inside of your own body. And then understanding that that body itself is alive and you are in that body. Me, i.e. Alright, cool. Quotation marks and then comma, put that behind whatever you want to put it behind. I'm not a douchebag. I don't try to act like a douchebag. I don't try to act like an idiot sometimes. I don't think that there's some sort of world out there that's going to help me or something. Even though I'm sure that there are, probably. A lot of them. What I think, though, is people don't understand that the people out there, I mean, there are people out there that really, really care. And when I say that, there are people out there that actually give a shit about people's futures. And when you understand that there are people out there that give a shit about people's futures, you start to gain a little bit of hope sometimes. And every single time I used to go back to my mom whenever I'd get hit by a firework, or my little brother's thumb would almost get blown off, except for he didn't, and it didn't, so it didn't. Because he held it at the wrong point, you know, all that stuff. We decided to do a bunch of irresponsible shit when we were kids, because we wanted to find out how things reacted to each other. It was great. It was amazing. It awesomely happened. And that's the reason why we were cool. So, that's the reason why we had fun. Because we always had fun, and it was great. It was a great day, and it was great. Amazing. Alright, so, and no, I'm not being sarcastic or in any way whatsoever at all. I'm just gonna be, there were stupid parts where we would yell at each other and tell each other to go shit on a tree or something like that, you know, stuff like that. Alright, so, there were a lot of times where, there are a lot of times when people would do a bunch of different stuff, and they didn't realize the reasons why sometimes they did certain things, I guess. And then they started to realize that there were a lot of times when it's like they never understood something. They just never really got it. And once they got it, they started to realize that they were just regular. And that's the reason why. They were just regular. And that's the reason why sometimes they didn't realize is sometimes what happens is you gotta make connections with people. And then You have to realize that there are people out there that just absolutely want to help you. And you have to understand that there are friends out there that may actually even see it coming. But you have to understand that no matter what happens, no matter how it happens, no matter when it happens, eventually you start to realize the comforts and a lot of different people who actually care and who actually want to see you do well. People really don't understand that sometimes people lost their lives in certain places, and a lot of times their family members never came back from that. Just trying to be able to fix someone's life who was completely and utterly gone in another place or on another place or at somewhere else living another life, because life goes on. That's the reason why a lot of people believe in death, and I think, is because they believe that they're going to turn into someone else and not have to deal with all these fucking problems anymore. And once they don't realize this, is because they get better at dealing with problems, probably the next time around or some sort of thing, because people are moving, stuff like that, it's happening. People are just moving to different places and saying different things and doing different stuff and all that other junk. So realize that stuff happens all the time, and people decide to do different things because of certain things that they are afraid of. And the reason why they try to do things that they're afraid of, because sometimes they think that if another person believes that they're not afraid of it, then they won't try to use it against them, or they won't try to do something against someone, or they won't try to do something against anyone else. And they have to realize that sometimes that's just paranoia speaking. It's a lot of paranoia, and it gets to people. It really does, and it makes them do some pretty insane things, like run around and talk about horse races and terrible stuff. You know, run around and talk about different stuff. I mean, obviously, people just think that there's some sort of, camera just following them around. Hey, people believe something and they'll take it and run with it, no matter if they're being looked after or not, or no matter if they're being listened to or not, or no matter if they're being notes taken or not, or no matter if they're going to be anything or not. No matter if it's going to be whatever or not. Understandably so. No matter if it's anything, just realize. I love all of you. All of you. And understand that there are a lot of different reasons why people do certain things. And the reason why people decide to disagree with someone even though they know they agree with someone. Even though they know that they're completely amazing and awesome, and though they just decide to be insensitive and call them a jock, or tell them that they're gonna laugh at their face, and then tell them to go fuck themselves, even though they were going through an emotional crisis because of a whole bunch of shit that was going on during that time. So realizing certain and simple facts is that people don't understand that there are a lot of different reasons why people really don't understand the truth about things. And when they don't understand the truth about things, the real truth is that sometimes things didn't want to live. They didn't want to live as the things they were. And that's the reason why sometimes animals kill themselves. It's the reason why sometimes cheetahs get really, really high and they get orange teeth, because they've been doing drugs their entire life. It's the reason why animals kill themselves in Africa, because it's unbelievably, unbearably hot all the time for no fucking reason. But probably because of all the gunmetal and all the things that's left fucking from eons and centuries ago, from when stupid people used to do war all the time for no fucking reason. Not like they goddamn own the place, even though they fucking don't. Companies own Africa. They look after people. A bunch of companies own Africa. The entirety of it. That's what happens every single time. They'll come in, buy up cheap land, and completely and utterly just expand on all of it. That's what happens. A bunch of companies bought up the entire continent of Africa. That's literally what the entire market fluctuation was happening because of. That's right. A bunch of companies just decided that they were going to buy up Africa and then give people health care and a whole bunch of different other stuff. It was good. It was amazing. But then you have to understand that it wasn't coming from any government. And if they're going to establish a government, then they can't associate those companies. They came in, they bought up Africa underneath their feet without even fucking letting them know. But they say it doesn't work. But you know what? Eventually, they're going to realize that they need to work and play ball. It's literally the same shit that happened to the Native Americans. Exactly the same thing. And it's because they didn't take care of their land. They put bullets everywhere. They killed people for no fucking reason. And they ate people for no goddamn reason as well. And in most cases, they raped their own children. Sometimes. In stupid fucking tribes, and they would act like there was some sort of honorability about it. So yeah, give free water to them or something like that. But understand that realization of fact is that Africa is its own private company now, basically. It's not a huge private company or conglomerate. It's a bunch of very small companies that have been able to buy up certain pieces of land and then be able to crop and be able to use the dirt there because they didn't want the dirt to leave because they didn't want to sell it. It wasn't for sale. The dirt wasn't for sale. So the land plots will be. So people decide to kick babies and decide that they're going to ruin people's lives or try to yell at a young girl on the real world or some bullshit like that. Companies will take it over. It'll be fine. And they'll realize their governments is all failing because they're just really terrible at it. They're terrible at putting on a show. They're terrible at putting on anything. They're terrible at putting on a goddamn cannibal suit. They're terrible at putting on anything at all. They're just terrible. They're not going to be gone. They're just going to die off. Because the companies are slowly not going to fucking care about them anymore. Just like they did to Native Americans when they used to have sex with their daughters. And they used to sell their daughter off to the highest bidder. Talk about the mother. They used to kill their mothers. And then drank their blood sometimes. Acting like it would give them mothering powers. That's what they used to do. Before they became the how person. Understanding English. That's what happens. Dumbass motherfuckers. So realize in eventuality that there are a lot of people out there that really do give a shit. There are a lot of people out there that do care, and they are a part of companies. Companies that do a lot of good and a lot of help for a lot of different people. No matter if they've been doing certain things that are not considered legal or not, you have to understand that they're usually humanitarian things. There are a lot of things happening around the world that people really don't want to understand. You're going to have to understand that, yes, it's pretty much happening. Still. Even still. And if you really, you're going to get fought, you don't even know what's going to fight. Shot the Halo first. What, son? Because it didn't even matter because I missed. I was just making something up on the spot, so. Also, I listen to Tool sometimes. So, there are a lot of times where people don't understand the reasons why things are happening. And they don't understand that people were paying attention when they were doing all that stupid fucked up shit. And they know a lot of people that are holding guns and doing stupid shit are the same people that were constantly always trying to act like they had everything in the bag. So just realize it's fucking over. It's fucking over. It's done. The country of Africa is kaput. All their governments out have no money, no businesses. They all go home and try to get their products and their sponsors or whatever they're doing. And when they get them back, it's when they get their products. And realize for a simple fact that those companies are actually helping those people survive in a place where their government is fucking lacking and not even taking care of them at all. And those are companies, mind you. Companies that take care of people. Companies that monitor their heart rate when they're not doing well, when they've kicked a baby before. When terrible fucking people have done terrible fucking things and don't feel a lick of goddamn conscience about it. I'd say pull the plug, but you know she just tried to get back up. Alright, people, thank you, and understand that, be yourself, and understand that there are people out there that care, and there are a lot of things that people don't really understand, and they won't understand until they start allowing themselves to realize that everything around us is alive, so why wouldn't the thing that gives it life be alive as well? Things move constantly, they vibrate. They constantly gain ionic bonds and different things like that. So realize that if something's happening, then everybody needs to watch out. Because I'm not watching the news for a specific reason. I don't want to be completely and utterly paranoid when all this shit actually hits the fan. I just guess, because my guesses are probably a lot safer than what's actually going on out there. So, have a good day, and realize today to be safe, and understand to be careful. Always be able to diffuse situations that may be happening because of situations that may happen on your own. And understand that there are people out there that care and love you for a very, very long time. So be yourself, and understand that there are people out there that really, really want to help. And when those people want to help, and when they actually want to realize that there are people out there that wanted to control the markets again, and friggin' other countries and stupid shit, realize that those companies stay around until governments can pick themselves back up. And that's what they do, and that's how they do it, and that's the way they do it, and that's usually the reasons why they fail. Or that some story is ever written by somebody doing prostitution because nobody gives that company any money anymore. Because they're usually done with all this stuff because they allowed a dude to run around with prostitutes that were completely underage, and a whole bunch of different other stuff, because they were dumb. Understand now that there are people out there that care, and there are reasons out there for people who aren't ready yet, for people who don't do certain things, for people who aren't comfortable doing something. Realize that there's perfect and utter therapy for it, and sometimes it's not even in New Orleans. So realize that, and understand that people out there sometimes really know what you need, but they don't know what you really want. Mardi Gras bombos, guys. Mardi Gras bombos. Have a good day, and enjoy yourselves, and have a good day. And also, I'll repeat myself because I'm not Donald Trump. Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump. Have a good day.